Thank you, Olive. Much appreciated. And Dr. Miguna, thanks for staying with us. This is from a tweet you made on X on the 9th of July. And it's part of the series that you have tweeted. You said, freedom fighters, let's trend the term #halfterm. Make tyrant William Ruto understand that Kenya belongs to us, not him and his bloodthirsty lunatics. And that we have resolved that he is going before 2027. You are a constitutional lawyer, Dr. Miguna. Tell us the constitutional anchoring of that tweet.
That's a very good question, Abdikadir. So I will explain. I really welcome that opportunity. So Article 1 of the Constitution says this, and I will read. All sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. That's 1.1. 1.2 says the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. That tweet is anchored strictly on that article. Essentially what it does is that the Kenyan people, when they enacted this Constitution, gave themselves the sovereign power to either exercise those powers directly or to do so through their democratically elected representatives. If the so-called democratically elected representatives fail to discharge their duties pursuant to the Constitution, as Ruto has done repeatedly, not just in 2024, but 2025, and recently by ordering that Kenyans who protest should be shot in the leg, essentially to be shot with live bullets. The people have a right to recall in whatever way they deem necessary William Samoei Ruto from the position they placed him in 2022. And Ruto cannot begrudge the people for doing that because he has violated every single trust that the people vested on him. And that's a right the people have. In fact, one of the beautiful things that I watched recently on social media is the young man from Kisumu who said, the people shall mandatory. So it's not something that we go to William Ruto to beg for, because William Ruto is supposed to be working for the people, not for himself. And he cannot dictate to the people what they can do under this Constitution.
And Dr. Miguna, then, when you supported his candidature, now coming to the political animal himself, Dr. William Ruto, you accused him of grabbing the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, the land, Processional Road, Western Hotel Land, Muteti Farm, which the Justice Rose Ougo ordered then Deputy President to pay 5 million in compensation fee to the rightful owner, Adrian Muteshi, in 2013, and you said attempted to grab the Langata Primary School. This is a man, and some seconds ago you said you are the encyclopedia of history. You knew he was a YK92 member which was accused of gross human rights violations, a member of the KANU inner circle. He was a member of the Grand Coalition government suspended at some point. How did you get it so wrong, and today that you are accusing him of all these double standards when you knew that he could be, in your view, not fit to hold public office?
You see, unlike you, Ayub, I don't suffer from memory loss. And I've not forgotten what I just told you at the beginning of this interview. I told you there was a choice that I had. I could either choose to remain in exile for the rest of my life like they wished and die in exile, or I could decide to do something to make sure that my rights were adhered to and that I was able to return to Kenya. The decision there was either I support Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta and remain in exile for the rest of my life, or I supported William Ruto and I could return to Kenya. That was not in any way a dichotomous situation where you could argue that I did that whitewash anything that William Ruto did. By no means did I do that. It was a presidential contest. In fact, if I was in Kenya, I may have run for president, but they had forced me literally from the Republic of Kenya. And I made that choice only on that basis. Now, of course, I knew what William Ruto did. I've written books about it. I have stated this repeated times in the media. I am not in the business of whitewashing any crime that anybody has committed. And if somebody, for example, tomorrow, Abdikadir, you run for office and they voted for you, does that mean that every crime you have committed, they have now forgiven and they have washed you from those crimes? Does that mean that any crime you're likely to commit in the future, they would now be bound not to tell you that you are committing a crime? By no means, no. So you are absolutely wrong. A support that any citizen gives to a politician does not waive in any way, and does not waive in any way the obligation and duty to speak truth to power, to oppose that individual when they commit atrocities, nor does it in any way forgive them for crimes they have committed in the past. I'm not the deputy or the director of public prosecutions. I'm not the head of the police. I'm not the head of the DCI. I'm not the head of NIS, and I've never been. I have absolutely no responsibility to take William Ruto to committee. I would have if I had the powers and responsibilities to do that, but I didn't have. So I don't understand your question, because you are implying that by voting, I somehow, in some contortion, forgave William Ruto for everything that he has done. How come you have never asked that question to, let's say, Rigathi Gachagua? He was with William Ruto. Nobody has asked him that question. How come you've never asked this question of all the people? Say, for example, Githongo. He supported Raila Odinga, even Raila Odinga has done so many other things. That question, this question is only placed on Miguna's feet. You know why? Because the media somehow is more scared of Miguna than they are scared of Ruto, who is violating the media's rights. But I'll deal with it, and I'm dealing with it. Yeah,
so Dr. Miguna, it's good. Then we are sticking to the issues. So let's deal with the issues, because your argument is then that the violations of your rights and what was committed then, knowing the history of the man you supported, had clearly outweighed the general public good of what he was accused of, including his public record. To this question, just to this question, allow me to proceed, Dr. Miguna. And then you hailed his speech, which he delivered on the 30th of June 2022, and you said it went far beyond one of the best and laid down his manifesto. He talked about, you say, he, William Ruto, about everything that I, Miguna, have been saying since 1987. And that is why I hail his speech. You meant his manifesto. Only 14 of the 281 pledges made in that document has been implemented. I mean, it seems then, even if you knew him, you just got it so wrong, Dr. Miguna.
No, Ayub, you are wrong. And in fact, I would have appreciated if you actually showed my the tweet that you're reading from. Because number one, you are reading a tweet in June 2022. William Ruto had not become president.
No, he launched his manifesto. The point I'm making, Dr. Miguna, is to be clear. When he mentioned...
Can I answer the question?
You and allow me to be clear, Dr. Miguna. Allow me to be clear so that you get the question right and you don't...
I got your question.
Yeah, I got your question. Allow me to point out this. When he launched his manifesto is when you hailed this and you said he talked about everything that I've stood for since 1987. In that document called the plan, only 14 of the 281 pledges have been met, which is more than 90% haven't been. So, Daktari, how did you get it so wrong, despite knowing the man William Ruto?
Abdikadir, you are the character that Voltaire was talking about with respect to distortions. As I was saying before you rudely interrupted me, you are reading from something you have refused to display for the public. You know why you are hiding it? Because you know you are wrong. You are referring to something that was tweeted in June 2022, before the elections. So when William Ruto launched his campaign and his manifesto, the manifesto was good. Nobody can say the manifesto was bad. And so if I praise a manifesto that is published and which is actually positive, I am being correct. Show me any part of that manifesto that I said was good that was not good. Now, when you move now 3 years later, which is where you are doing your contortions, when now you come to 2025, 3.5 years later, and William Ruto has not actually satisfied or honored his manifesto, which I talked about in June 2022. Now you want to blame me in 2025 when I'm actually telling William Ruto exactly what you're saying. I'm saying, William Ruto, you have betrayed the people. You have not honored your manifesto. You're abusing the people. I, as Miguna, a citizen of the Republic of Kenya, with sovereign right, want you to get out of the way, get out of power, because you have betrayed the people. I'm saying that in 2025. I said that in 2023. I said that in 2024. You, Ayub Abdikadir, have never said that.
You did.
You have never said that. You have never ever said that.
You did, Dr. Ari. It's verbatim, word-for-word transcription I'm reading to you, which was reported by Citizen Digital a day after you posted the tweets.
I want you to show the tweet that it was in 2025, that it was in 2024, that it was in 2023. It was not in any of these times. You are talking before the election, and that's why I call you a contortionist.
And what I was reading to you, Dr. Ari, to be again factual to you, was a tweet that you made. I read verbatim, word for word. Can't be unfair to you. It's what you posted. I'm holding you to account on.
Read the date of the tweet. Read the date of the tweet, Abdikadir.
This was after the manifesto launch, which was 30th of June 2022.
2022, before the election, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And essentially, no, Abdikadir. So somebody launches a manifesto today. The manifesto is very nicely written. The manifesto addresses issues that I support. I should not say that the manifesto is positive when it is. And then now you are asking, after the man has betrayed his manifesto 3.5 years later, and you are trying to conflate the issues. You can't get that through me. That is a contortion.
Not, sir, Dr. Miguna. The point is then how you failed to read through what was launched then and scan it. I mean, you will have done an audit of it.
Are you God? Could you have foretold that William Ruto was going to kill people in 2025 or 2024? Like, you have to be completely ridiculous to have said that if you read the manifesto in June 2022, you would have read through the manifesto that Ruto was not going to implement even 15%. Like, that's the most ridiculous statement that anybody has ever made to me from the media in my lifetime.
Certainly, Dr. Miguna, no one is God, and no one neither between me and you has the prophetic skill to tell what will happen next. On to the next question. So what's the alternative? What's your view of the opposition? And Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua are in the United States of America. And how is this going to impact local politics here?
You see, I have been very consistent, Ayub, and I was consistent before. I think you are much younger than me, so you would not have been around. In 1987, when I became politically active, I always believed that Kenya is a defective state, structurally defective, institutionally defective, culturally defective. That the neocolonial state needs to be restructured by first being overhauled, then being transformed. And when you do that, you would get rid of all the legacies, the colonial legacies on which this faulty foundation was built. So when you see the police abusing citizens, that's exactly what they were supposed to do when this colonial experiment was established. They were not. The state was not created, the Kenyan state was not created to respect and treat Kenyans with dignity. It was created to extract raw resources from Kenya, to be able to exploit the labor, and to be able to treat Kenyans as slaves. That's why the state was created. And we've never been able to transform that state. My idea is that we need to do that. We need to overhaul the existing rotten structure before we can transform it. And William Ruto cannot do that. And any of these characters you are mentioning cannot do that. I was at the university with Rigathi Gachagua in 1987, even though he was ahead of me. I believe he was ahead of me 2 years. Rigathi Gachagua does not represent transformation, can never transform anything. Rigathi Gachagua is William Ruto, basically, because he supported Daniel Arap Moi's one-party state. Okay? He supported it in 1987 when many of us were campaigning against it. He supported that throughout his life, and he's still supporting that. That's why he's with Matiang'i. Anybody who is working with Matiang'i in one group, there is absolutely nothing that they can do to change the political structural environment that I'm talking about. So his only grievance is that William Ruto kicked him out of government, not because the system is bad. Many of these people do not want to adhere and implement the Bill of Rights. Adhere to the Bill of Rights and implement the Bill of Rights. Many of these people do not care about defying court orders. Many of these people do not really care about looting, because if you actually audit their wealth, they would not be able to explain how with their meager salaries, they became billionaires in dollar terms. So the so-called opposition is a joke, the same way that Ruto is a joke. I believe in revolution. I believe in the structural transformation of Kenya. And that's what I believe the revolutionary Gen Zs have been working at. And that's what I support. I don't support the jokers.
Okay. And last year, the Kenyan Gen Z led protests that called for good governance, and Clarion called for a good response to some of the core issues that they have raised. What's your view of Kenya's youth standing up to the country's political elite?
They're doing a marvelous historical job. You see, the youth is the motor of change historically. Whether you go to the French Revolution, whether you go to the Russian Revolution, whether you go to the Cuban Revolution, whether you go to any other revolution, the most recent being the Burkina Faso revolution that is being led by Captain Traore. The youth is the bulwark of that movement that would eventually transform this system that I'm talking about. They are the majority. They are the ones that are most repressed and oppressed. They are the ones that are most exploited. They are the most unemployed. They are the most in terms of being homeless. So they feel the pain of the independence betrayal than any other group of people. All that needs to be done is for Kenyans of goodwill to support them so that they can manage to do that which our parents were not able to do, and that our generation failed to do largely. So I support what they are doing fully, but it has to be ideologically driven. It has to be ideologically driven because ideology is the software of politics.
Okay.
If you don't have ideology, you cannot lead any transformative change because you would not have the software on which to do that.
And if then, of course, you have made your position on the government headed by the president, the opposition, then what's the alternative? Who then picks up the responsibility and fill up the vacuum that you have talked about, the much needed reform within the Kenya's governance architecture?
Because this country does not belong to Ruto, the looter, liar, and terrorist who is terrorizing Kenya and his regime, and the group that basically are on the other side were part of this team, essentially, ideologically, politically, economically. These are transactional actors in the Kenyan political environment. They are merchants of impunity. Now, the only other side, because you are trying to, the question implies that these are two sides. They are not two sides. They belong to the same side. This is almost like a palace disagreement. So members of the palace disagreed and are now fighting over the spoils. But we have the real alternative, the people. We have the exploited. we have the majority of the people who are the victims of this oligarchy. That is the solution. It doesn't have to come in the form that many of you are used to, because many of you are used to these briefcase outlets called political parties, which are transactional instruments. Those are the ones that you see as alternatives. When Che Guevara and Fidel Castro led the Cuban Revolution in 1959, many people talked just like you. They said, oh, which is the group that is going to replace Batista? They didn't realize that these students that were considered radical and very extreme wanted to overhaul the entire oligarchical system so that they can bring a new thing. That is what the youth in Kenya, that's why they call themselves tribeless, organic, and they are also saying leaderless.
Okay.
Leaderless because if they were to announce who their leaders were or are, the state, this transactional state, will either kill those leaders or they will bribe them.
Okay.
That is why they crafted Raila Odinga to come forward, the conman, so that he can pretend that he's going to lead a dialogue or some kind of choreographed nonsense for purposes of usurping the power of the people. So I have my faith in the Gen Zs. I have my faith in the movement that is ongoing. And in the fullness of time, that movement will produce organically its leader.
Okay.
When the Burkina Faso revolution happened, we didn't know Traore. He just came after the revolution. So revolutions will produce their leaders organically.
All right. And Dr. Miguna, before we run through the list that I'll be seeking your views on, you have talked about it being a natural movement, an organic revolution. At what point then are you going to be flying back from Ontario to join this revolution on the ground?
Abdikadir, I was in Kenya last year, and you didn't invite me for an interview. I was also in Kenya in 2022. I was in Kenya in 2022 5 times. I was in Kenya in 2023 5 times. I was in Kenya in 2024 4 times. So, but the reality is this. When you are cut out of your country for a very long time, you are pushed into exile and locked out there. As a person who has good credentials, good training, and good work ethic, you set out yourself to survive, to be able to take care of your family and to be able to take care of yourself. And because I have a license to practice law in Ontario, Canada, and I would also be able to get a license because I'm a member of the bar in Kenya. When I was locked in Canada for 5 years, I set up my practice. So after the 5 years, the regime that came into power allowed me to come back, but my practice was already established. My family was already settled here. So I'm here for now for work. Just like the impunity merchant Matiani was working in Washington the other day. I did not hear the Kenyan media tell him to come back. I did not hear the Kenyan media raise any issue that him being abroad was a problem. They still ran stories about how he was running for president. The same way here. I have not looted anything. I am engaged in good work, and I will come to Kenya as I've always done when I have to. I don't have to announce to anybody when I'm coming to Kenya. And in this day and age, where social media and technology has allowed that we can communicate seamlessly 24/7, I don't think it really matters where anybody is physically at any one given time.
And to get your opinion on this, what do you make of the former Chief Justice David Kenani Maraga, who has been critical of the government, calling for good reforms, the principle of constitutionalism? What's your view on him? He's a good candidate. He represents a break from the past. He's definitely, he's not one of the oligarchs. But to the extent that he has not
unveiled his manifesto. I have not spoken with him. I cannot say anything beyond that. But I have to say, he definitely opposed the violations of human rights that occurred in 2018 and 2022, including the ones that occurred against me. He opposed the culture of impunity that was becoming and became systemic, institutionalized, and weaponized by Uhuru Kenyatta and now William Ruto. So that's a positive candidate. That's not a candidate I will be able to say does not represent something positive.
Martha Karua?
Cannot be a choice. I told you that Martha Karua was involved in the atrocities of 2018, 2007, 2009, and really does not represent anything. Right now, Martha Karua is working with Matiang'i. So how can she be? How can she represent anything? And in fact, Martha Karua abused power when she was Minister of Justice. Martha Karua abused power even in her personal relationship with GBM Kariuki, who was the former judge. I don't think Martha Karua represents anything better than Matiang'i or William Ruto, as far as I'm concerned.
Senior Counsel Kalonzo Musyoka?
The same group.
Eugene Wamalwa?
The same group.
George Natembeya?
Worse than Martha Karua. Did you see how he abused power when he was the county commissioner? I mean, this is rogue. This is as rogue as Murkomen. This is as rogue as Farouk Kibet.
And Miguna?
Miguna is speaking with you, and the Kenyans will judge. I may actually throw my hat in the ring.
All right. And Dr. Miguna, let's finalize with the following. And this is a post that you made on your Twitter. This was on the 9th of July, about some few days ago. Just trying to pull it out. You talked about the IEBC, and you posted a poster with the photo of the new IEBC chair, and you said, I warned all of you about the colonized, tethered, and tyrant William Ruto, cloned IEBC. You can now see its priorities to disenfranchise Kenyans living in counties Ruto perceived as hostile territory. But we can stop this tragedy, yes, on Sabasaba Revolution Day. Dr. Miguna, given the respect that you command, and given that you are also a constitutional lawyer, why did you post a message that was misleading when the IEBC never had a chairperson and said that poster was fake?
Well, first of all, have you read my post?
Yes, I did. I just read it to you, Dr. Miguna.
My post has nothing to do with the chair being a chair or not a chair, and he happens to be the chair. He's tethered. This man is not independent. This man worked for Nanok in Turkana. And this man was basically headhunted by William Ruto, like he does to all so-called independent constitutional bodies to come and chair the IEBC. This IEBC is made in the image of William Ruto. And anybody who expects this cloned IEBC to preside over credible and fair, credible, and transparent elections is in some dreamland. I want people to come to reality. I warned the country against Kivuitu, and it came to pass. I warned the country against Isaka San, and it came to pass. I warned the country against Chebukati at the very beginning, and it came to pass. And I am now warning Kenyans against this clone from Turkana and his group of Ruto-tethered commissioners, that these are not independent commissioners. These are dependent commissioners. These people do not come in to preside over a credible elections. They are coming in as coronation choir for William Ruto. I am saying that on the 13th of July, 2025. you will call me back and you will say, and Kenyans will trend, Miguna, we did not know your game. We apologize to you, Miguna.
Yeah.
Because this is what I told them. I told them this about Raila Odinga, and they ignored me. I told them about many people, and they ignored me until it was too late. And now I am saying it about these clones.
And Dr. Miguna, the point is you have explained your tweet. So let me ask you about the poster, because you posted a poster that had said the following, which quoted Erastus Edung Ethekon, who apparently in that poster said, we will remove over 2 million ghost voters from the register before the elections in 2027. Kiambu County has the largest concentration of ghost voters, followed by Meru, Nairobi, and Nyeri. You, without scrutiny and clarification, sought to tweet that poster, and it turned out to have been fake that you post.
Well, first of all, Abdul Kadir, I don't know about fakeness. I don't think you are a forensic examiner and you have actually produced any evidence that that post was fake. Number two, I am not myself a forensic examiner and did not say anything about the poster and have not said whether it was fake or not. I found it in the social media. I thought and believed that it was genuine, and I have not seen any evidence that it isn't. Just because somebody renounces something does not mean, especially these people who are brought in by William Ruto, I will not put anything past them. They just killed Albert Ojwang and lied and lied and lied about how other inmates killed Albert Ojwang, how he committed suicide. You still trust this group of clones? I don't. So until I see credible material evidence that the post was fake, I have no comment.
And you ought to have, clarified, is it, and sought further information, because the IEBC had no chairperson at the time.
From whom? The IEBC had a chairperson who had been selected by...
They were sworn in. He never took office.
So for you, somebody is not chair until he's sworn in?
So the point is, why did it then flag it as fake?
I'm asking you, did you believe that this man was chair? He had been selected as a chair. He had not been sworn in.
Dr. Miguna, I am the source of the questions. You are the source of the answers.
No. That's a rhetorical question.
It isn't. It's clear, Dr. Miguna.
I can ask you, no, there is something called freedom of expression. I express myself the way I want, not the way you want, Abdikadir. And I'm trying to tell you that you are not a forensic examiner. You have not produced a forensic report. You have not tabled forensic evidence to contradict what I am saying. And for that matter, there is no reason why yours should be the truth and mine not the truth.
The truth is the truth is it came from the IEBC, Dr. Miguna.
I really don't care about the so-called IEBC. I've already told you I don't trust them.
And you trusted the IEBC conducted free and fair elections that William Ruto won in 2022?
No, I did not say I trusted them.
No, you just said you're just contradicting yourself, Dr. Miguna.
No, when did I say I trusted them?
Well, you said you never trusted Isaac Hassan, you never trusted Samuel Kiviutu, you never trusted Wafula Chebukati, but Chebukati presided over the elections in 2022, which you billed as free, and you said the current president won fair and square.
I never said the elections were free. I have never said that. I just said he won. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. I believe that he won. I'm not saying I'm right. I've not discounted anything anybody else has said if I believe they were talking the truth. But I am an independent discerner of information. I analyze facts and I decide whether I believe this is true or not. Okay. And unless somebody can bring me evidence to show that I said something which was false, it remains what it is. So,
Dr. Miguna, according to you, the president won, and you have said that it's on record. I have the wordings of your statement. But who conducted the elections that William Ruto won?
The election was conducted by the IBC, not one individual.
So then how have you discredited the posting it made that it was fake, what you posted on your tweet on the 9th of July?
I don't understand your question.
My question is clear, Daktari.
No, I don't understand it.
Okay, at what point you said that you have no trust in the IEBC, at one point you say you haven't. So one final question then. And
I said this IBC is a clone of William Ruto. Show me it is not.
So you have given us a historical representation, ideally, of since 2007, when the late Samuel Kiviutu presided over the elections in 2007. We are coming to a conclusion here, Daktari, and you have said that at the moment your practice is in Ontario, given the 5 years that you have been exiled from the country. Revolutions by nature, given the Burkina Faso you mentioned, the French Revolution, they seek sacrifices as their launch pad. At what point then are you coming to offer the alternative or join the movement to change Kenya?
Who said that I must lead the revolution? I didn't say I must lead the revolution. The revolution is not about any particular individual. The revolution may get inspiration from individuals, but the revolution is a collective exercise. And the collective exercise comes in from the collectivity, including Kenyans in Kenya, Kenyans in the diaspora, including Kenyans who have been martyred, who have been killed. This revolution will get inspiration from, say, Pio Pinto Gama, who was assassinated in 1964, before I even knew who he was. It will get inspiration from Ochuka, from Dedan Kimathi, from Albert Ojwang, from many, many people, past and present. So Miguna is just one little player. I never ever said I was going to be the head or the leader of this revolution. And the revolution will succeed whether I am there or not.
Dr. Miguna, we come to an end at that point, and many thanks for the time you accorded us. And we have come to respond to your right of reply that you had requested.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Much appreciated, Dr. And that marks a conclusion of the special interview on Sunday Special here on Sunday Live. And Olive will be back with the sports news after the break. Stay tuned.